Hello there. I'm Scotty, and you're not. You know I gotta say it right. I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? All right, yeah, we're talking about Meet the Parents. Back from the year 2000. It was that old, but it is. It's a comedy film starring Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro, Terry Polo, Owen Wilson, directed by Jay Roach. And here, this is the case I got from my mom. I bought the collection because stuff I got, the ones I got from my mom, they didn't work for some reason or other. They would work and then freeze up halfway through. They're old, but so yeah, I got Meet the Parents here. Yes, this is the start of I'm reviewing movies so that I could do their sequels and Sequelathon 3 because I was looking at the stack that I had and I went, I have close to 10, but I don't want to do the Highlander movies just yet. I have to rewatch Highlander because I don't know if you watched my review. It was kind of just a generic one, but I have to rewatch that to watch the other two. And so I have a stack over here of stuff and sequels, and I have a stack of movies to review. And this is the start of it. Meet the Parents. And the story of the movie is that Greg is going with his girlfriend to her parents' house for her sister's wedding, in hopes that he can impress her father, played by Robert De Niro, enough so he can propose to his girlfriend. And I can't speak personally because I'm not married, and my ex's family does not like me for one reason or another. There's really no reason why they don't like me. They just don't. In fact, most reasons why they don't like me is her fault, to be honest. But anyway, but yeah, I think every guy in that position knows how. I mean, even meeting the parents, like I didn't meet her parents until after we found out she was pregnant. So it was nervous, but my folks were there. Her folks were there. It was kind of a meeting thing there, but hold on. But it still is nervous, excuse me for that, when you meet your girlfriend's parents for the first time. I know that because but we'll say though, her dad was much more down to earth guy, much nicer, much more accepting of what was happening than her mom, stepdad, or her stepdad didn't really do anything. Her mom and her grandmother, they were all negative Nancy's, where her dad was more accepting, what situation was going on. But this is a different situation because he's just meeting the parents, being introduced to them. I knocked their daughter up, so that was, a little bit more than just meeting them, but and they were old fashioned anyway, especially her grandmother, who thought I should come to the door and court her. That's really old school. I mean, this is the 21st century, but anyway, so yeah, Ben Stiller plays Greg Focker. Yes, Focker. Focker. And it's exactly what you think it's supposed to be. Yes. They even go farther by later revealing his birth name is Gaylord and his middle name is M. Gaylord M. Focker. They even make a joke that Pam, his girlfriend's middle name is Martha. So if they get married, her name would be Pamela Martha Focker. Yeah. So I'd watched this movie for a long time. This was one, obviously we had it at home. We watched as a family. And then we had that shelf to watch whenever. But it's been years, right? And so, it's one of those things where you go back, you watch it, you see things. There was a point in this film where I just went, okay, this is too much. Like, it's too much. Like it's one of those movies where no matter what he does, stuff goes wrong, but it goes in the worst possible way. Worst way possible is what I wanted to word it as, because. But then, like, I don't know, a few scenes. There's a whole thing where he hits the volleyball in the pool and he breaks Pam's sister's nose, and then they go back to the place and they find out that he flushed the toilet. They said that you're not supposed to flush because it runs, and then that their septic tank is almost full. And to me, that's like empty your septic tank. By the way, how is there a septic tank on a house? Not a burp. I don't know, but empty it. This seems more Jack's problem than anything, because like instead of telling people don't flush our toilet because the septic tank's almost full, empty it. Instead of keep telling them don't flush it, empty it so they can flush it. Don't be a jerk. And that's what it comes down to, is that they have Robert De Niro's character Jack Burns spelled with a Y for some reason. I don't know. I mean, Rose Byrne spells hers with a Y, but she's British, so. Or Australian. Whatever. She's Australian, yeah. Whatever. I was thinking Emily Blunt. I get this confused sometimes, but yeah. Whatever. But he's a jerk this entire time. And the whole thing with that is that he doesn't think anyone is good for his oldest daughter, for Pam. And they even compare that where, like, he's accepted the proposal from Pam's sister's boyfriend, but then he comes down hard on Greg for everything he does, because Pam is his pride and joy, the one that he thinks is precious and perfect, and is his favorite child. So I have one of those. It's my only child. But still, if I had another child now, I think because of all the time I spent with him, he would still be the favorite. Don't tell my unborn second child that I probably never will had, but it's one of those things. Like, I know I was my grandma's favorite out of us. Even though she spent time with my sister, I was born first. And don't tell my brother and sister this, but I think I'm my mom's favorite too. I'm the one that's still around, right? Just saying. Anyway, so yeah, and then it goes the bloody nose, and then the septic tank, gets all messed up, and then Owen Wilson shows up. He's Pam's ex-boyfriend, who is somehow still around, and they make a point later to point out that Jack didn't like Kevin, that's his name, until after they broke up. It's one of those things, like, if they broke up, would he like Greg? No, because he basically forces him out of their life. And then Mr. Jinx gets away because there's this whole thing, like, there's just so much that's leaned to, like, first of all, Jack doesn't use his brain, because he borrows clothes from Denny and his jacket, right? And he knows this. And so when Denny realizes he left his hash pipe in there, he goes to get it, and he goes, "Oh, I found this sculpture in Greg's jacket." He said, "That's not a sculpture, that's a device for smoking marijuana." And he automatically thinks that it's Greg's. But whose jacket is it? I mean, this guy's supposed to be trading in the CIA, right? He can't put two and two together whose jacket that is. And in the end, during the scene where, because he's got cameras over his house for some reason. He's a CIA, so who knows. But when Greg's in the camera and he reveals that Denny was the one who smoked the pot, he's just like he's surprised. I'm like, whose jacket was it, Jack? You're a dumbass. I hate to call Robert De Niro that, but Jack Burns, not Robert De Niro, Jack Burns. He's a dumbass for not putting two and two together in that situation. And then they say earlier he's not supposed to, and it's one of those things where, oh, that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen. They talk about, like, he's like, oh, hey, I like that vase. He's like, well, that's actually an urn with Jack's mother. Okay, that's breaking at some point. Make sure you don't let the cat outside. Well, that's gonna happen. Hey, don't flush that toilet. that's going to happen. It's one of those things that they point stuff out and okay, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. It's one of those things. And so Mr. James gets outside, he realizes he did it, and he chases him onto the roof where Pam had thrown his pack of cigarettes earlier. So he starts smoking one. He sets the leaves in the thing on fire, and he ends up trying to get Jinx, and it knocks down one of the electrical wires that sets everything on fire, including the altar that Kevin had made. And yeah. And then Mr. Jinx runs away. So Greg goes out looking for him. He goes to the shelters. And he finds one that looks like Mr. Jinx, but the tail is off. So he spray paints the tail black and he uses that one anyway as a replacement until they get the other cat back. Now, I understand that he's trying to earn brownie points with Jack, whatever. But I don't think either him or Jack are in the right in this position, because Jack is wrong for freaking out on him about this because he's just trying to get in his good graces. But Greg's also wrong for replacing the cat. He should have said he couldn't find him. He's trying to get in the good graces. He's trying, to make him happy. But he's like, oh, I was trying to find the real Jinxie. And what were you going to do when you found the real Jinx? And you say, oh, hey, here's Jinx. That's a fake. Do that, did you, Greg? No. Turns out it was at the neighbor's house. It ended up in one of the neighbor's houses, which, why didn't you talk to your neighbors beforehand? But, yeah. And for some reason, Jack seems to think that he took the... he doesn't say it in so many words, but he makes it sound like he thinks that he took Jinx's collar, I think of the word, and purposely put it on another cat just to fuck with him. But that's not what it was at all. And you're really frustrated at Pam in this situation because she takes her parents' side. Especially, there's just one thing that she doesn't, where he's like, well, he didn't even pass his test, his nurse's test, his doctor test, whatever. She's like, yes, he did. And then when all the lies come in, she's like, well, you didn't pass, did you? He's like, yeah, I did, because I looked up Greg or Gregory and couldn't find anything. But his name is Gaylord, and once that's revealed, she looks it up and finds out he did do it. But I felt like there was too many steps to get to that, because his name is revealed as Gaylord is being kicked out. That should have clicked something in their head. Wait a minute, your real name is Gaylord. And then Jack should have been the one to look it up afterwards and realized he was wrong, and he should have known. And she should have stood up for Greg at that point. It's a situation where I don't think Pam should have sided with her parents on this. Yes, everything he did was terrible. It was an accident. And I felt like they're heavily going for the fact that Greg needs to be alone and pushed away by everyone, when I think Pam should have been on his side the entire time. You need the love of a good woman, right? She should have been on your side the entire time. They should have both left together. I don't know how that would have worked, but this whole thing, and there was a thing at the beginning of the film where he tried to bring his luggage and it couldn't. He had to check it, and then they lost his luggage, and so he finally gets it as he's heading to go back to the airport, and they try to make him check it again. But, of course, he doesn't want to do that because they lost his luggage last time. So he flips out on this stewardess, or flight attendant, and then he gets arrested for it. But this lady's a bitch, because when he goes to check in, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we're only loading rows 9, 10, or higher. But I'm in row 8. Sir, you'll have to wait. Back up. Back up, sir. Back up, sir. So he does, and he's standing there, and she just stands there. There is no one else there, and she stands there on purpose, waiting. And then after he gets on the plane, she's the same one that comes in, tells him he has to check the baggage, the luggage. I don't, bitch, plain and simple. And then he gets arrested for yelling at her, and because he said his exact words were, "It's not like I have a bomb in his bag," and so because they heard bomb, people saying the guy's like, "You threatened them with a bomb." I didn't threaten them with a bomb. I said it's not like I have a bomb. You said bomb on a plane, but I don't have one. I said it's not like I do have one. He's like, well, you still said bomb on a plane. He's like, bomb, 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 bomb. And then Jack shows up, and they sort of make up, and he's like, Greg, will you be my son-in-law? And that is where it is. There's a whole thing with Owen Wilson too. Like, I don't heavily go into it in this one, but I think it's the next one that really kind of go into it more. That he still has a thing for Pam. I don't know, but he's really just there because he's friends with Ben Stiller, so he's got a cameo as the ex-boyfriend. But they do kind of hint at it because he's still got pictures of him and Pam there. Not very well done photoshops. They couldn't have actually. I mean, they were photographed together, but they're photoshopped onto a background that looks very much like it was photoshopped onto a background. It's not like they took their heads and put on something else. No, it's them. Like they have them take pictures together and then they put it on a Photoshop background. Is what it is. So it looks really weird. But I do like the acting performances. Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller are good. They play against each other very well, and that's one of the strong points of the entire trilogy is them playing against each other. But I think as the movies go on, they kind of get like that's the only thing you can kind of go with, and then it just becomes a certain point where it's like, okay, why is he? But a third film, like, why does he still have so much hate for him? What is this? You know. And at the end, they do kind of set up a sequel, whether or not they were trying to or not. Where he's like, we have to do now. But to me, his parents. How bad could they be then in Gaylord? Gaylord and Focker. It's a weird name. But yeah, overall, I liked it. It's got memorable lines. I end up with God, can he milk me? That sort of thing. And yes, it was one of the movies parodied a date movie. So that's gonna be interesting when I eventually do that. I'm thinking in September I'll do like a spoof-a-thon. Spoof-a-thon. Where I have a certain number of spoofs. Not Scary Movie or the Vampire Sucks or Stan Helsing, because those will probably be for October. But some of the other spoofs like the Seltzerberg ones. Those ones I'll do. And Date Movie is one of those. So yeah, this was a fun watch. I am I'm at a loss of what I can give it a rating. I'll give it a middle of the road, actually, because it did kind of go down from what I thought it was going to be. I went into like, oh yeah, I remember this really being really good. It could be a pretty good, but you know what? No, it kind of went down for me. I found all the incidents of what Greg was going on with Greg just too much, like, and then for them to just outright outcast him at the end, it's just like just so we can have it's another third act breakup. I watched the Yes Man earlier. It's another third act breakup so they can come back together at the end, but it's with And again, I think Pam should have went with him. I think Pam should have been on his side as he's trying to impress him, and it should have been Pam that confronted him. His wife was also like that too. Pam's like, no one's ever going to be good enough for me. The whole thing. And she does confront him, but not like with the mom. But so it's the middle of the road. Maybe the sequel's better. I don't know. I don't remember the third one, Little Fockers, being that good. I think I watched it once. It was like, yeah, that happened. Anyway, but it's fine to watch. Like out of the Ben Stiller comedies I've seen, I would say maybe Mystery Man is better than this, but I don't know. I think this is better than Along Came Polly. I'll tell you that much. I mean, Along Came Polly was fine, but But yeah, so what are your thoughts on Meet the Parents? No comments. Let me like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.